Lesson one, building yourself. We all want to get paid. We all want to get paid well. We all want to be valued for our services and for our contributions. But before you can be valued for your services and contributions, you have to be able to provide a service. You have to be able to provide a contribution. You have to be able to provide value. Of course, we all want to be paid. But if you don't have any value to offer, it's a little bit challenging to ask to be paid for something. So, build yourself. Building a skill set. That's what this means. How do we build ourselves? Well, we can refine ourselves in many different ways. We can refine ourselves through learning, through educating ourselves through books. We can turn on Audible. We can go on YouTube. We can sit down with somebody that knows just a little bit more than we do. Many ways out there to learn and educate yourself. And these are the first steps that you need to take in building yourself. Building yourself will be the most critical part of this journey. Focusing on yourself, realizing that you are the main character in the story, and that you are the person that is going to define your journey in life. These are the most important fundamentals that you need to understand before taking on the journey of wanting to become a better person and to becoming a successful person. Building yourself essentially says that nobody has the keys to your kingdom. Now, we all think that if this person would just help me, if this person would just give me a job, if this person would just bring me on their team, I would be great. But that's really not what it's about. It's about building your skills and the level of value that you can offer in any situation, then being able to parlay that into a winning hand. So, learn something that you like. These are the things that I can recommend. How did I become incredibly successful? How did I make over $10 million from a company? Because I loved the company. I loved the product. I loved what I was involved in. I loved helping people. These are the core philosophies that are going to propel you forward in doing something that you love. Because of course, you have to find out what you're passionate about, what you enjoy doing. What do you love doing? This is where you begin. And many people have a challenge saying, well, how do I turn something that I love into something incredible? How do I turn something I love into a business? I'll be able to give you a few examples along the way of how you can turn something that you are passionate about into a business. And I'll just give you that info right here. So, how did I turn something that I had a passion for into a business? Well, my story was a bit unique. I was into something that was illegal. I had a passion for the cannabis plant. We all know that today that's something that you'll see on almost every street corner at a dispensary across the United States, in almost every state. However, that wasn't the case for many years. For many years, as you know, it was completely illegal. And for anybody that wanted to learn the dark arts of cannabis, they were risking life, limb, peril, and of course, imprisonment. But I had such a passion for this plant that I decided to risk all of those different things and push forward. And of course, there was money to be made. And I'd like to say that I was ahead of the curve. And that's okay. Sometimes we're going to find that we're a bit more ahead of the curve than others. Some are afraid to get into an industry because it's too new. Some are afraid to get into an industry because it's scary and because they don't understand it, of which you should not get into any industry that you do not understand. But again, if you have a passion for something, you're going to be able to navigate it just a little bit better than other people are. And that's the deal. And that's where I came from. I could navigate the industry because I knew it. I knew it backwards, forwards, inside and out. And therefore, when the opportunity came around to expand and cultivate a legal business in the industry, I had been doing it for over 15 years. I had been essentially working in the industry to understand the best practices, things like quality control, things like supply chain. These are all business lessons that I was learning while I was just being passionate and following a plan. So, how can you take the skills and the skill sets that you're learning and turn that into something like a business? Well, we all have passions out there. And these are the most important things that we need to follow. Maybe you would like to be an artist. There are many ways to monetize that art. Maybe you want to build hot rods. Well, many ways to do that as well. If you want to be a chef, maybe you want to be a famous chef and you would like to get into the culinary industry. Many ways to do that as well, and I'll highlight some of those ways as we go forward. As we move forward and we start looking at these different skills, such as maybe you would like to be a custom hot rod builder, maybe you would like to be a famous chef, maybe you would like to create content. First of all, you need to be able to create value. And how do we do that? Well, as a chef, if we would like to become a chef, we'll go out and get an apprenticeship and we will pay our dues and we will learn. If we would like to become a hot rod builder, we will go and push a broom at a mechanic shop and we will learn. And of course, we won't get paid, but we will get paid in knowledge. And see, that's the thing. When you work for a company, you're either getting paid in one of two things. You're either getting paid in knowledge or you're getting paid in money. You could be getting paid in both, and that's a really good deal. Understand that it is important to sacrifice money in the short term for knowledge in the long term. Meaning, I would rather get paid $7 an hour to work for an amazing chef that can teach me everything that I need to know so that I can go on to another position in a few years making 3 or 4 times that. Then going in and working with somebody who has no skills to teach me and making $12 an hour. Because essentially I'll be making that $12 an hour and maybe moving up to a very short pay wage bump by just focusing and not learning, focusing on the day-to-day. So skill sets. You can go push a broom at a mechanic shop and you can go pick any mechanic out of the hat, or you can pick the best hot rod builder or the best motorcycle hot rod builder, let's say, and you can go say, I want to push a broom here. And you can get paid $6 or $7 an hour, whatever the minimum wage is. I think it's like $11 now. And you'll be able to learn how to fabricate. You'll be able to learn in just a few years. Those skills that you will have learned will have outweighed any of the money that you could have made just working a traditional job. So again, being passionate about things. These are the skills that you will need to develop to become a successful person, because without any passion for anything, the time that things are really tough, the time that you have crunch time in your business or you're having issues in your business, that's the time where you're going to be most vulnerable to quitting, most vulnerable to outside attack from outside forces, whatever that may be in the business industry. And we'll talk about those in the future. But if you don't build yourself, if you don't make yourself the best person that you can be, and that's getting up with a positive mindset, that's getting the best food that you can get for yourself, the best fuel, that's exercising, doing a little bit of exercise for yourself, making yourself feel good about who you are, the person that you want to become. These are things that will help you just simply in moving forward into becoming a better, more successful person in business and in anything that you would like to do. Take my advice. Over many years, I've done the same thing. I've built myself, I've exercised, I've become a better and more focused human. I go to bed on time, I get up at a certain time, I have a pretty stable schedule, but this all came not as easy as you would think. I was in the same position as you. I was working as a regular chef, working on the line, not sure how I was gonna essentially make my next month's pay. I probably could think 1 month out. And at that point in time, you're not able to really focus on yourself. You're not able to focus on what you would like to do or even what you can contribute if you're just working day to day. So what I decided to do to build myself is after I got home from work, I went on YouTube and I started to learn a skill set that could help me. I started learning motion graphics, 3D motion graphics, video editing. I was always passionate about music, so always forwarding my skills and doing homework on that. If you can't build yourself and you can't offer value, how will you expect anybody to offer you more money? How can you offer or expect anybody to offer you more opportunity if you can't build yourself and want to work a little bit harder. You know, people say, I wish that door would open for me. Just, oh man, doors are opening for those people or whatever. But when you're the right person to walk through that door is going to open for you. You've got to be the right person to walk through that door. Doors have these invisible layers on them. You could try to walk through it, but you're going to be stopped immediately because either you're not ready for the opportunity, you don't have the skill set to execute on the opportunity, or you're just rushing. So take your time. When I was young, I wanted it all. I told my friend, I'll be a millionaire by the time I'm 30 years old. Now that did not happen. But like I like to say, if you shoot for the moon, you're still going to land somewhere up in the sky, and certainly not here on Earth. And that's what I did. And so by the time I was 40, I had made $1 million 10 times over because I chose to build myself. All the time that my friends in school, for instance, were going off to take their SATs and they were going off to college to try to figure out something that they could do. I know people that just pick things. I have a friend that just picked to be an accountant because it was getting close to his time to have a major in college. And so he said, I'll just pick be an accountant. So I'd like you to be more premeditated about who you are and who you want to be. Be incredibly premeditated about that fact. Think about who you are at this time. Again, contemplate what you love doing. Think about the things that you love doing and think about that skill set that you can offer. Think about how you can learn from somebody to build that skill set and increase that skill set and hopefully offer some value. Many people have come to me over the years and said, Ian, I want to work with you. I'd love to work with you. What can I do for you? That's the wrong question. Don't ever walk up to somebody in a position to help you and ask them, what can you do for me? You've got it backwards. You're supposed to walk up to a person and say, this is what I can do for you. And this is how I can do it. And until you can figure out what you can do for another person or a company, you don't have any value to offer other than what they tell you to do. And that may be very hard for some of you to understand, but it is a very critical lesson in business. How do you add value? These are the words that you should remember as we go through this course and as you go through and listening to what I have to say. Remember those key words in that phrase. How can I add value? That is the key. Building yourself, finding a passion, as I said, practicing that passion, becoming incredibly good at it, as I did with cannabis, so good that people will seek you out and ask them to help. Or you can go to them and say, this is how I can help you. And that is the way to create real value.